when the drummer stopped. In the small village of Agudaland, where the rivers sang and the forests whispered, the heartbeat of the people was a drum. Not just any drum, but the mighty ikoko, played by Adisa, the village's most gifted drummer. Every morning, the rhythm of Adisa's drum woke the farmers, sent the fishermen to the river, and lulled babies to sleep at night. The elders often said, "As long as the drum beats, Agudaland will never fall." But one day, the drum stopped. The trouble began during the New Yam Festival, the grandest celebration in Agudaland. The people gathered in the village square, dressed in bright wrappers, the faces painted in joyful patterns. Women carried steaming pots of pounded yam and agusi soup, while men drank palm wine under the old iroko tree. At the center of it all, Adisa sat on his stool, his hands poised over the great drum. The festival could not begin without him. With a deep breath, he struck the first beat. A deep, thunderous boom rolled through the air, making the earth tremble. The people cheered. The festival had begun. But then, something strange happened. As Adisa drummed, his fingers tingled, and his heart pounded in his chest. The rhythm of the drum seemed to pull at something deep inside him, something he couldn't explain. Then, a scream tore through the crowd. A woman pointed toward the sky. A dark cloud had gathered above the village, swirling unnaturally. The wind picked up, carrying whispers that made the elders clutch the staffs in fear. Adisa's hands froze above the drum. Silence fell upon the village. The drum had stopped. The moment Adisa lifted his hands, a terrible wail echoed from the forest. The ground shook. The river, which had always flowed gently, roared angrily, rising over its banks. The villagers gasped as their houses trembled. "The gods are angry," an elder cried. Confused and terrified, Adisa stared at his drum. Had his music awakened something? Oba Adeyemi, the village chief, stepped forward. His once proud face was lined with fear. "Adisa," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "your drum was given to you by the ancestors. If you stop playing, you invite the unknown." Adisa's hands trembled. He had always known his drum was special, but was it cursed? He looked at the villagers, some crying, some praying. He had no choice. He raised his hands to play again. Nothing happened. The drum refused to sound. That night, a heavy silence sat over Agudaland like a funeral shroud. The villagers huddled in their homes, too afraid to speak. The air was thick with something unseen but felt, a presence watching, waiting. At midnight, a voice called out, "Adisa." It came from the forest. The villagers covered their ears, shutting their eyes tight. But Adisa could not resist. His feet moved on their own, carrying him deep into the woods, where even the moon dared not shine. At the heart of the forest stood a massive silk cotton tree, its bark twisted and gnarled like ancient hands. At its base lay a drum identical to his own. But this drum was covered in moss, its skin cracked with age. Then he saw them, the drummers who came before him. They stood like shadows, their hollow eyes watching him. One of them, an old man with a face like his own, stepped forward. "We have waited for you, Adisa," he said. "You stopped the rhythm. Now you must pay the price." Adisa's breath came in short gasps. "What do you mean?" The old man sighed. "The drum is not just music. It is the village's heartbeat. The moment it stops, the village begins to die." Terror gripped Adisa. He had always thought he was just a drummer. He never knew he was the keeper of life itself. The old man placed a hand on Adisa's drum. "There is only one way to fix this. You must play again. But this time, the drum must not stop. Not even in death." Adisa's heart clenched. He knew what that meant. If he played again, he would never stop. He would drum until his body gave out, and then his spirit would join the others, trapped in the rhythm forever. But if he did nothing, Agudaland would fall. He looked at his hands, calloused from years of drumming. He thought of his mother, his little sister, the children who danced to his music. He had no choice. He raised his hands, and he played. The moment the first beat sounded, the trees shook, and the river calmed. The wind that had threatened to tear the village apart stilled. The dark clouds vanished, revealing the silver moon. The villagers, who had been holding the breath, wept with relief. But Adisa did not return. His drum continued to play, though no one touched it. Its rhythm echoed across the village, soft yet unending. And in the forest, among the spirits of the old drummers, Adisa took his place. He had saved Agudaland, but the drum would never stop again.
Native Narrative. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.